Well, we are now 4 days into jury selection in the trial of 3 men charged with murdering Ahmaud Arbery. Defense attorneys are now taking aim at the supporters of Arbery's family. News4JAX reporter Renee Beninati live at the Glynn County Courthouse. Renee, what have been the attorneys' concerns?
Every day we have seen the dozens of supporters for Arbery's family outside of the courthouse here calling for justice for Ahmaud. These defense attorneys are worried about the crowds and the signs they've been holding. They argue that all of this could possibly influence potential jurors. The attorneys brought up their concerns to the judge this afternoon, asking him to ban signs that call for justice for Ahmaud on the court grounds. The attorneys say they were concerned with, quote, any conscious or unconscious attempt to influence any jurors as they head to and from the court proceedings. They also specifically pointed out a child who was riding a bike with a picture of Arbery's face on his back. The judge responded, saying that the courthouse grounds are public and said if the attorneys want to file a motion, they can. Sherry Bailey tells me she traveled from Virginia to support Arbery's family, and that's her focus.
I see that as being just a way of trying to create a smokescreen for what is not a reality. The reality is that it's important for us to have a transparent democracy, and that's what we are doing. We're letting the folks who are going in there to know that we think what they're doing is important.
Outside of the courthouse here this afternoon, it's been quiet. Inside, attorneys are still busy questioning potential jurors. At this point, we know of at least 15 potential jurors that have moved on to the next step of this jury selection process. Their goal is to get a pool of 64 potential jurors, and from that group, hoping to find the 12 jurors and 4 alternates needed for this trial. At the rate things are going right now, it could take weeks. Reporting live from Brunswick, Renee Beninati, Channel 4, the local station.
Renee, thank you. You know, that jury selection process to choose those 16 men and women is extremely deliberate, and now it's also in the national spotlight.
A law enforcement officer and an elderly woman were just 2 of the people excused from the jury pool by state prosecutors and defense lawyers representing Greg and Travis McMichael and William Roddy Bryan. Glynn County residents 70 years old and older can be excused automatically, along with full-time caregivers of young children or full-time students. The judge can also dismiss jurors for hardships or disabilities or to run a business with a shortage of workers. Potential jurors can still be qualified to hear the case, even if they say they already know the facts surrounding Ahmaud Arbery's death. In fact, attorney Gene Nichols, who is not associated with this case, says not knowing anything about the case would raise even more red flags.
If you can imagine in such a small community someone who knows absolutely nothing about this, that probably would strike more fear in all of the lawyers and the judge than any other potential juror, because either 1, they live underneath a very large rock, or 2, they're lying and they're trying to get on this jury.
Once lawyers have picked their final pool of 64 potential jurors, they'll have to follow specific instructions set forth by the judge in the next elimination process, as they use what are called peremptory strikes to eliminate people from the panel.
That will allow a lawyer, whether the prosecution or the defense, to strike an individual from the jury for just about any reason that they want, as long as that reason is not for a protected class, in this case, such as race.
The judge has granted 12 peremptory strikes for the prosecution and 24 peremptory strikes for the defense. The judge also has the power to award more strikes to either side. If defense attorneys don't like the makeup of the jury for any reason, they could enter a motion to move the trial to another city. But based on statements by defense attorneys so far in this case, Nichols believes they'll want to try this case locally in Glynn County.
In this case, the defense lawyers have not been pushing that issue. They seem to want to try the case in this location. I think they believe that they will have a better pool here locally than what they would have potentially in Savannah or Atlanta. So for those reasons, they have decided to keep it here. It will be an up-road battle for them to argue to move this trial somewhere else.
As of now, a total of 15 prospective jurors have been identified to move on to the next phase of jury selection. Again, they're looking for 64 qualified potential jurors before they can move on to the final phase. Still a long way to go. You can continue to follow our coverage of the trial through News4JAX Plus on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, Android TVs, and Chromecast. Just search News4JAX on your streaming device to download.